All right. So you're going to put up with me for 5 minutes and then we'll get on to the panel. Thank you, Google. All right. Keynote 2 is going to be around the attitudes to programmatic advertising. This is in its 9th year, this particular survey. And it has become an industry benchmark in terms of attitudes, adoption, and strategies and how they're evolving. And as you can see, it's a relatively even split. Let's face it, ad tech companies probably the most vocal, so we expect to see a little bit more in terms of respondents coming from the ad tech community. But I'm actually really pleased to see a relatively even split across the buy side and the sell side. And the survey itself attracted over 400 respondents who committed significant volumes of advertising supply and demand. The resources came from advertisers, agencies, publishers, and ad tech vendors across 30 markets, which is pretty impressive, and all with pan-European and global budgets. Music for my next slide. Okay, so what I'm really keen to highlight here is that these are the 3 biggest observations that we pulled out of the 2023 findings. So we're going to see how these differ from 2022. So firstly, in 2022, we witnessed no growth from the buy side from the 2021 survey. So it's really exciting to see actual resilience coming through programmatic investment in 2023. Quality of media has replaced cost as the biggest barrier to future investment, which again, we'll dig into some of the why that might be the case and maybe some of the irony behind that. And latterly, a surge in the use of first party, which isn't perhaps too controversial, but what might be seen as controversial is we've seen a surge in the use of third-party data through 2023. Okay, double-digit growth in programmatic investment. So according to the recently released ADX benchmark at 2022, released in June 2023, the European digital ad market was valued at 86 billion and is continuing to be programmatic first. And here we can see like 58% of non-social spend and 53% of video is now transacted programmatically, despite facing unprecedented macroeconomic and geopolitical challenges that we've witnessed during this period, such as the war in Ukraine, rising inflation. Digital advertising market demonstrated exceptional resilience with increases in programmatic up by 14%. Okay, this year's Attitudes to Programmatic survey further highlights this trend, indicating that the industry has picked itself back up. Small investment declines we witnessed in 2020, coming back from the small investment declines we saw in 2022. The year, overall, programmatic investment was slightly down compared to 2021. Okay, and I think the key observation here is really the programmatic increasing from the buy side, where over 40, I think it was 54% of those surveyed on the buy side said 41% of their display campaigns were bought programmatically. I'm actually quite surprised by that. I would have thought that it would have been an awful lot higher than that. And then on the right, nearly a third said over 80% of their display campaigns were now bought programmatically. Behind that investment, what are the key drivers, but also what are the key barriers for that programmatic investment? And looking at the barriers to programmatic adoption, it's interesting to see that whilst in 2022, the buy side positioned costs as their number 1 barrier, there's been a big shift towards questioning the quality of media and the political and economic environment, which is probably not that surprising, right, given what we saw through Q1 and Q2. And 35% state the quality of media, which also includes brand fraud, brand safety, as their number 1 barrier. Which again is super surprising if you think about how sophisticated, shameless plug, Integral Ad Science, verification technology is in our ecosystem, enabling advertisers to actually navigate complex open marketplace with security. So I was quite surprised by that observation. And then, this is a clear sign that the industry needs to better educate the buy side, businesses like ourselves, on how they can ensure brand safe and trusted environments for their ad campaigns. The key concerns from publishers was on the current political and economic environment, which again, probably not that surprising given if we think about premium journalism and the responsibility some of these big brands have in covering what are quite complex and controversial and somewhat unsettling topics, still need to monetize that content. So as a publisher, obviously having concerns about how the current geopolitical situation might impact revenues. And then lastly, sustainability, highlighted mainly by the agencies as a barrier to future investment. Okay, so operational efficiencies are the key driver for buying programmatic, which is not that surprising. Operational efficiencies, and then I'm just going to highlight the cost efficiencies at the bottom. Now, cost efficiencies in 2022 were a key barrier, and now they've become a key driver. So we wanted to buy media for less, and as we saw in the previous slide, now we're concerned about the quality of the media. So is there a direct relationship between the price point at which we want to buy and now the concerns of the quality of the media that we're actually buying? So let's discuss, we'll dig into that a little bit in the panel, I hope. Okay, and this was quite a surprising find for me. So a surge in the use of first and third-party data. I'm not at all surprised by there being a surge in the use of first-party data, given GDPR, given the concerns around how consent is collected and the deprecation of the cookies. Absolutely not surprised by that. I was, however, surprised to see that there was a surge in the use of third-party data. In 2021 and 2022, we saw a significant drop in the number of advertising agencies using first-party data. And alongside this, we also saw, unsurprisingly, a drop in the use of third-party data and an increase in second-party data. Is everyone familiar with second-party data as a term? So second-party data being a publisher's data which is then sold onto the buy side. So in 2023, despite the looming deprecation of the third-party cookie, there has been an increase in third-party data usage. And this might suggest that delays in Chrome's deprecation of the third-party cookies led to complacency, which may be compounded by advertisers maintaining existing KPIs such as clicks and conversions to measure success, i.e. the KPIs haven't changed with the times, and as long as the cookie still exists, then advertisers are still holding agencies accountable to the same KPIs, will continue to use third-party cookie. Does this mean that we're going to be actually delaying our readiness? And what are we going to see a swing in the early part of next year? Not at all a shocking slide. What solutions are the industry looking at to find new audiences? 81% of agencies plan to leverage first-party data, and 86% of publishers are looking at contextual targeting, with 66% of advertisers looking at using contextual targeting as well. So no questions around privacy by design. I think this is a reflection of the deprecation of the cookie, but actual practice, as we look back at this slide again, and the use of third-party data, doesn't really reflect the intent. What is the future for programmatic? It now gives me, and what do our experts think? And what more trends and insights to come? And yeah, the full report is going to be out on Thursday, so please make a note of the IB URL and get on there and download it.